But I can assure you that soon we are going to call for meeting, because you have seen other regions have met and they have taken a stand on BBI. I can assure you, as leaders from Gusii region, we will also soon meet so we can make our stand on BBI known. But in the meantime, as a person, I can tell you that we support BBI, and we support the president in his initiative to unite the country. You know, before the handshake, there were people who could not go to particular areas of this country. Now everybody goes everywhere. So the handshake plus its resultant child, the PPI, is okay. We support it. And even the proposals that have been there, if you remember, when PBI committee came to Kisii at Kilde, I plus these leaders who are here took a stand, and we said that there's nothing wrong with the current presidential system, and that the PBI recommends that, so we support it. Now, if there will be a little bit of tweaking here and there to make sure that it reflects the true feelings of Mwananchi, that is still okay. So we support the PBI.
What's your take? Some are saying they want it to take parliamentary, they want the members of parliament to amend the BBI report. And then there are others who are saying, like Keleweke, they are saying they want a referendum. Maybe let me call you as from the Tangatanga team. What's your stand on that?
I think it's wrong for you to label me. But I will answer you and tell you, for me and for many of us who are of my thinking persuasion, it doesn't matter. Whether it goes through parliament, whether it goes through the referendum, it doesn't matter. The recommendations in that BBI report are okay, and they are acceptable to Mwananchi. Now, if there can be a way of saving money so we don't waste money, we prefer that. But if there are areas, like now, I can tell you, an area that touches on changing the structure of government, then that must go to referendum. Okay? Now, 8% of the recommendations in that PPI do not need a referendum. But then the question you must answer is, what about the 20% or the 10% that requires referendum? So if we don't go for a referendum, what do we do with that 10% or so that requires it? Do we ignore it? So that's why the president is right when he says that let us discuss it. First, read it. Let's understand it. Let us have a conversation. Once we have had a conversation, then we will decide if we want to take wholesome, if we want to take all of it. There are some parts that will require referendum, and then we'll go to referendum. But if we can implement the majority of the provisions that do not need a referendum, the better. So, for my side and my friends and those ones who think are like me, and some of them are here and others have left, we think what's important is the content, not the process. Not the process. If the process so requires that we go to a referendum, so be it. Yes, we have no problem.
So as leaders, what are you doing to ensure that our people are conversant with the report so that they can be part and parcel of it?
I have just told you that we will soon call a leaders meeting where this will be discussed extensively, and I will invite you. When that meeting takes place, I will invite you. But other than that, it is incumbent upon every citizen of this country to partake in the democratic process of this country. You see, PPI is an outcome of our task force. That task force has prepared a report. It's for you and me to get that report and read it. Maybe we'll ask that we will promote civic education, but to a large extent, it should be our responsibility, it should be your responsibility as an individual to understand what the PPI is talking about. We don't want this business of saying that somebody has read for us. As the president said, let us all of us read the report, and then once we sit down, we do a conversation and we agree. on how to implement it. For us, implementation is a process, and that's not a big deal. Whether through parliament, fine. Through referendum, fine. Yes.
Are you comfortable that the Speaker of the National Assembly has already taken a stand on this issue?
The stand he has taken is the same one I've taken now. Because what he said is that there's no way that report as it is now can go to the National Assembly. Because that report is just a report. Now, for a matter to go to the National Assembly, it must go as a bill. Okay? Now, we have not had sufficient discussion so that we can decide if this matter is going to go to the Assembly, then it will go as a bill. If it's going to go to the referendum way, then the question must be formulated and formatted as a referendum question. So what the Speaker is saying at the moment, I believe, is that it's too early to say if this thing will go to the Assembly or not. So he's saying, as it is, can't go to the Assembly, cannot go to the Assembly. It must be reformulated as a bill for the Assembly. But if it's going to go to the public, then it must also be reformulated as a referendum question. Yes.